Welcome back to Bright Ideas from Acuity Brands on Industrial Sage. I'm Catherine Bruce. Today we want to take a look at women in the electrical industry. Female faces are growing in number and power in a traditionally male-dominated industry. Today I'm joined by Leslie West, the Vice President of Strategic Account Sales, and Katrina Harton, the Branch Manager at Mayer. Ladies, thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
I'd like to start by kind of looking at the start of each of your careers. How did you get started in the industry?
Well, I sort of fell into the role. In 1982, I began to work for Lithonia Lighting right out of high school, newly married, and began actually proofreading orders on a desk, a real snoozer. But
Paper
it was
orders.
Paper orders.
With a red pen.
That's right. That's exactly right. But it was a great way to start to get familiar with product and processes. And I did that for inside of a year, and then was able to move on to customer service, which I found was my sweet spot. Loved it. Moved on from there to IT, at which time I think we only had 12 people.
Wow.
I know, and helped start the support center. I had various roles as I got my college education. Mm-hmm. The company had a great educational reimbursement program. So I earned my BBA in management from Georgia State University. I held positions as support center manager, project management, manager of systems training, and moved on to sales and marketing. I was able to lead our customer care organization for about 15, 16 years, and ultimately was offered a position in sales. And I think that I responded, thank you, but no. I had never even thought about a position in sales. But after spending some time thinking about it, I realized I had been in my comfort zone too long. It was time to learn new things and to stretch. So I took the position in strategic accounts, and I have been in that role for about 7 years now.
Great.
I started as a temporary receptionist while I was in college at Georgia State University. And I worked there for a while and then got a position with a global distributor in inside sales. Worked there for about four plus years, and wasn't a great fit. Had some fellow coworkers that had left there and gone to Mayer, and they kept calling me and asking me, come on over, come join us. And really honestly, when I left, I decided that if I didn't get on with Mayer or the best distributor out there, that I was out of the industry. Mm-hmm. And took me about 6 months, and I got hired from the time I first interviewed to the time, and worked on the counter, moved to inside sales, handled a large contractor in town, and eventually moved into management. Right. And been with Mayer for almost 23 years.
Wow. So it sounds like both of your stories, you come in young to these companies, these industries, and it's about finding what your sweet spots were, what you enjoyed about a company, and then kind of just growing up within that and following what you're passionate about.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody graduates college thinking that they want to sell light bulbs or conduit or lock nuts or things like that. I think you kind of fall into the industry and develop a true love for it.
Right. I definitely hear in both of your stories, you got into these companies, but then you found either what you enjoyed about the company or what your passion was, and then just moved on up throughout the ranks and really kind of following what you felt you were good at and what you enjoyed. Is there any advice you have for young women entering the industry today and how they can follow a similar path?
I would say learn as much as you can. Know who your assets are. So people are a great asset. The veterans in the industry would certainly be able to tell you about product, the players, and who handles what and what goes with what. So learn as much as you possibly can, while also bringing in any kind of new technology that you might know as a young person. I would say it's a great industry. It's exciting, and so
a lot of ways that they could bring new things in to transform those companies. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Leslie, any advice?
I would strongly encourage, if you have any interest whatsoever, to do your research, not only on the industry but the company that you're considering. Network for sure.
Absolutely.
And get a mentor. You know, even if it's a very informal relationship, that really can help in so many different ways.
And part of a career development plan sometimes is you need to make missteps or mistakes to learn and grow. Are there any good stories the two of you have that you could share to help others learn and grow from your mistakes maybe?
Well, I would say you may consider that I made a mistake in not getting my degree out of high school. And instead waiting until I was already in the workforce.
Right.
But I really do think that that served me well. I would have gone into something totally different had I done that. And even though it was very tough, going downtown 4 nights a week, it was a lot of work. The company allowed me to progress while I was getting my degree, but I was able to apply my key learnings on the job. And that really made all the difference in my career.
Right.
I think it took me a little bit longer maybe to develop my confidence, maybe because it was a male-dominated industry, but I think if there was any way that I could have gained that confidence and felt good about speaking up sooner and letting the people know, my supervisors know exactly what it was I wanted sooner, I think that it would have served me well.
So I'm glad you brought up the woman in male-dominated industry. Is there anything that you've seen evolve over time since when you started and today?
Well, for 38 years, I have seen it all. And it is a very different environment. I can tell you one experience when I was interviewed early on. I was asked if I had any plans to get pregnant during the next year or so.
Dear Lord, I hope HR wasn't in the room for that one.
They were not. And I was so young and naive that I just answered the questions. Also, my mother worked for the same company at the time, and they asked what my reaction would be if she was ever fired.
Wow.
So those things have really stayed with me, but we have seen so much change, you know, and I think we've come from a time where, and I'm speaking from my own experience, I felt there was a certain way that women were expected to look and to act and to present themselves. And I really don't see that anymore at all.
Yep.
Yeah, I think along with the products that are changing and evolving and becoming more advanced, I think the acceptance of different nationalities and genders and looks are being introduced into our industry.
Right. We're not just manufacturing the same products, metal bending in the same little region, one distribution center manufacturing plant. We're working with global companies, global suppliers, and people of all races, creeds, sexual
Absolutely.
orientations. Yeah.
And if we're narrowed, we're missing out on some really good people.
That's right.
And so over the years, there's been a lot more resources for young women and women in general across the industry. Are there any resources that you would encourage someone joining the industry out of college to look up and take advantage of?
Absolutely. Like Leslie mentioned about getting a mentor, there's mentor programs that are available for women to get other women mentors in the industry. The NAD has the Women in the Industry, which has an annual conference, and it's been a great way for me to network and learn who's not only in my area but within the country. And I've made lifelong industry friends and connections that have really helped throughout my years of business.
I've attended the NAD events for about 6 or 7 years now, and I would highly recommend that. There's a whole world out there that you don't realize, if you don't have those opportunities,
Right.
To really connect outside of the company. There are so many different types of businesses, of partners in the industry, and women have a real chance to network across those when they get involved in the NAED Women in Industry.
And many of them switching over to virtual things, events and happy hours and
Yes.
lunch and learns this year for
A lot of
sure.
creativity.
in
Makes it
person
more
and-
available for a lot more people too.
That's
That's
right.
that's true.
That's true.
Available all the time, anytime and anywhere now.
Yes.
Exactly.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I'm honored that I could sit down with both of you.
Thank you.
All right, you have a great day. And join us next time. We will discuss how industrial companies can invest in their future workforce.